Jonathan, it's like we are on a roll here. Not one, but two episodes back to back to have guests on Now We Know. Our next guest has held a significant place of musical influence in my life. And now that I think about it, I don't know if I've ever told them that before, given them their flowers about that. But but I'm not sure, if I've done that. And at this time, we're definitely going to let them know growing up how much of an impact that they've had. And we'll have to get to that. But in their own words, they have written and been featured on multiple top 10 singles for Tyga, Sean Kingston, Cher Lloyd, and Robert Dell. And they've garnered more than 2 billion digital streams worldwide. Most notably, the voice and co-writer and co-producer behind the 6-time platinum and Billboard Hot 100 hit Taste by Tyga. It is a pleasure and an honor to welcome Cameron Forbes to the podcast. Cam, truly, thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here. I'm excited to chat with y'all.
Yeah. We're excited to have you.
I just found out that the Tyga record literally recently went 7 times platinum. So
wow,
that's amazing! Congratulations.
Thank you. So like this little plaque right here, I need to get a new one.
Okay.
I think it's 6. Yeah.
That is awesome. Not everybody can say that.
It's a blessing. It really is a blessing.
Exactly. I know you're doing all the things from singing and songwriting, performing, teaching yoga, making crowd-pleasing vegan cheesecakes. But growing up, I remember you would sing and play the piano so beautifully. And I believe I've shared this on the podcast before, but I'm definitely that person that will start crying from like being so touched from performances. And Cameron, you always did that. Just singing at the holidays or just randomly starting to play a tune and truly the soul, the passion, the way that you exude the love and emotion through vocals is and has always been so moving to me.
Oh, you're so kind. I don't know if you told your listeners that we're cousins. We're related, y'all.
Yes, we are cousins. I might have missed that part.
So like you've had a peek into my life and seen my musical journey. I mean, more than, most, it's just that we have a small intermediate family. So, it means a lot. It means a lot that you've been able to see the growth. You saw where I wasn't even doing music, even though it was my passion, to then quitting a corporate job and moving to LA. And, recently putting out my first album. So it's like, you get a special kind of peek into that. So I'm glad we're chatting about it all.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely one of the, well, do you know my cousin?
I'm still your cousin though.
Yeah, more than anything, you're my cousin and I love you. And so glad that you're here. And for the first time, meet Jonathan. You've probably seen him on the interwebs many a time. But yes, so Cameron, meet Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, Cameron. I also want to add that Donna shared your music with me and I became a fan instantly. And I have to say, your If I Was White video having Deborah Wilson from Mad TV is iconic. I was like, wait a minute, that's mother, that's mama.
I'm so
What's
glad
your relationship with Deborah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that you that you like that video. I mean, I had such a beautiful time. I actually got to shoot it with 2 close friends of mine. It was directed by my friend Tebow, and his partner produced it as well. And she's actually friends with Deborah. And so when we were just thinking about this scene in the field where we wanted just people to represent our ancestors, she willingly gave her time. She willingly showed up. And I was thinking that too, like, oh, wow, I used to watch this woman with my mom on Mad TV all the time. And she was she's not only like really gracious and really really in tune, but she offered a prayer on set. And she like got us in a circle and just gave me and everyone else just words of encouragement. So I don't think a lot of people know she's in the video. You kind of have to know. You gotta know. So like it's kind of dope when people discover it for themselves. Like we didn't publicize it. Like, yeah, she's in there, but like that wasn't the point to get views because she's in there. The point was that we did something that we loved, that was meaningful, And yeah, and then just it's such a beautiful piece of art, and I'm so glad it exists.
I'm glad it exists and it is beautiful. And it also did remind me of my late nights staying up and watching Deborah, of course, and it connected me to you because I'm sure that that was also your experience, and a lot of people that are like us experience that. And part of our conversation on today's episode is going to be talking about the forging of the path by ancestors, specifically in the music industry. So you had mentioned that you moved to LA. I want to know, just in your initial start in the industry, what was that move like? What inspired you to end up in there as opposed to working over the internet? Like, what was your welcome to LA?
Yeah, with the internet thing, that's all kind of new. I mean, the
Mm.
idea that you can, I mean, you certainly could work over the interwebs and MySpace was a thing, but like the way that you can kind of forge an identity and a musical path and put out music now without ever having set foot in the studio, that's new. The fact that you can leverage social media in the way that you can now is new. So like for me, like Donna was saying, music has just always been a part of my life. And now just kind of knowing my relationship with it, it has really been medicine. It's been healing. It's been this thing I could escape to when life wasn't so great. And I think I realized that early on, but I don't think that I knew I could have a career in music until college when I met someone who was producing and songwriting, and they got me in the studio and we wrote a hook. Like I wrote a hook that y'all will probably never hear, but we'll keep that in the wrap.
No, you should let us know. Sing it
Yeah,
for
I mean,
us.
maybe I'll play it for you one day, Nana. But
Okay.
I mean, the moment I stepped behind that mic and was just trying to figure things out, it changed my life. I knew that there was something there for me. So I ended up after graduating from college, working a corporate job. I just decided to give it a shot because I just knew that I had a gift, that I have gifts. And what made it easier is my brother is out here in LA, also in the industry, in the film industry.
Mhm.
He's a really, really just talented editor. And, I
That
was
whole
able
side of the
to,
family super talented. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
love that.
I mean, everyone in our family, is
Yeah,
just gifted.
incredible. Yeah.
And so it was easier for me, to move out here, have that support system, live on this couch for a few months while I figured it out. But it was, I didn't know anything. Like he's in a completely different industry. So like I just learned literally in the studio how to co-write songs, how to do like what great melodies are, like how to work with new producers, like what worked for me. Like I didn't sing really out in public until, college. I was just really still learning my voice. So like LA has
Wow.
been my second school, for better or for worse.
Mhm.
And yeah, over the course of, 10 years, I just kind of figured it out, made some mistakes and had some really huge wins. But, I'm still learning, honestly. Like I'm still, especially now having put out my first project and seeing how it works in this ever-changing industry, like understanding what music is for me beyond the selling of it and trying to get back to that purpose so that I can find joy in it. Because this is very, very, this industry is not for the faint, you know?
Mhm.
And you can have all the talent in the world. You can even have the best team in the world, but like, if it's not fun, eventually, like, it won't matter. Like, it won't matter. So that's
Mhm.
for you. Just figuring all that out.
I
One
know you
Well,
mentioned the producer that was influential in college. Is that DA? Is that his name?
No, his name he goes by Major now.
Major.
Uh,
Was it DA? I feel like that.
yeah, I did meet senior year of college. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and he played a big part. I mean, we wrote the Tiger placements we all kind of collaborated on, and I met him senior year of college. We connected over MySpace. I was looking for beats. He was looking for demo singers, and I had learned how to work Pro Tools, like this recording software. And yeah, I mean, that was another kind of like thing that shifted my whole trajectory,
Mm-hmm.
completely shifted it. Like he was very instrumental in advocating for me like learning on my own. Like, you should study these writers, check out these melodies, and it's a very much like, you know, I'll send you the resources and the tools, but ultimately it was up for me to put in the work. Same thing Major told me. And I think that's been pretty instrumental into why I've able to have had such a long career. Like, I've
Hmm.
been out here for 10, 11 years. And I mean, I don't really publicize that. I don't promote it. I could be really like, I'm this thing, but you know, I know that, um, yeah, I've been able to support myself for 10 years in the music industry.
Hmm.
And that is just without really a lot of support other than God and, people who've taken a chance on my records. And, it's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. I know. So again, growing up, Cameron was always singing or like playing on the piano. I don't remember if you did any wind instruments, but mine, like I played the French horn and the alto sax. I think did you do sax at all?
Yeah, so I actually didn't
Yeah.
start singing though until I was in high school.
Oh,
Senior.
okay.
Yeah, so
So
I
it's me growing up because you're a few years older than me. So it was my
yeah, yeah.
upbringing. Yeah.
I mean, I played saxophone as my first instrument, which was changed my life, and then played piano from sixth grade, until high school. Until high school, I actually auditioned to do piano performance in college,
Mm,
and I didn't get in, but like, I was really thinking I wanted to do a career in music even before I knew what that meant. Somehow, some way, like
mm,
I always knew I wanted to sing and that I could sing, but it just took me some years to like figure out and be confident in my voice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Was it Uncle Clifton or Aunt Carolyn who maybe helped like push you that way or like anyone?
No, none of them. No one knew. No one in the family knew I could sing.
Really?
No,
Wow.
I don't know. I think I'm a big believer in just believing, like really having a clear feeling about what music did in my mind and my body. And I knew early on I could sing. And I knew that, if I could just hold on to that dream, eventually it would happen. And what I will say is that my mom and dad were supportive in the sense of like, like they bought my saxophone, they bought my piano, like,
Hmm.
they got me lessons. But it was always up to me to like say like I want to do this because I mean they were I was the youngest of the family.
Yeah.
By the time I was born, I was a later baby. So I always joke that like, they were developed people. Like they worked full-time jobs. They had 3 children. Like they were really working hard to give us a better life. And so like I feel, and my mom might disagree, but it kind of left me alone to my own devices a lot. Like I created worlds in my head, which is why like I write songs. And they gave me the tools that I needed. And ultimately, like it's up to me whether what I did with them. And I knew that music was the only thing that like made me feel like okay and made me feel something. And I could just see that, like, when my dad played music, his whole mood would change. The way my mom, I'm sure you feel this similarly, but like,
Mm,
I just knew it was for me. And so, yeah, when the opportunities presented themselves, I just like was always like, I was always had antennas. Like, if there's something like, oh, I can get this program to record, cool. I can learn how to write songs, cool. I can join an a cappella group in college, awesome. That'll help me. And I just
mhm,
kept taking steps and steps and steps and steps until, I got to where I needed to be.
mhm,
Now, I want to zero in on some of those opportunities because now we know, obviously, we talk about Black history. We're learning things that we weren't taught formally. And one of the things that's really interested me and is kind of continually being uncovered is the history of Black music and how our marketability as Black people has been shifting and changing. Even a few years ago, there was a conversation about the word urban being used.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, you went to LA, started going in the industry about a decade ago. Have you noticed a difference, at least in your own experience, within the industry, since we've had more conversations about race and race relations in the past 10 years, especially probably in the last 3-year pocket?
Yeah, huh. Like I'm trying to understand like what I will say is like overall, I feel like, I mean, blacks, people of color, um, we are the culture. Like we contribute so much to the industry. I think now there's more recognition of that. There may still be subvert racism and some of the systems that are in place are still exist to like exploit us. That's just the truth. But I think now because you have so many different pathways and artists have more license over their creative content, they have more of a voice. You are seeing people of color, blacks, artists, us getting more say in what we want and having more creative control. And I think that's the shift. I mean, that's huge. You imagine who was unhappy in their deals? TLC, like all, like
Yeah.
probably name a few, but who didn't have the ability to connect directly to fans who were at the whim of the powers that be. Like now, if you put in the effort, you have more of an opportunity. I think that's the shift. I also think too, just as a queer artist, I think that space has been I would like to believe that it's been widened. Like, there's so many queer artists that were existing, and that
Right.
were setting the freaking tone, that were setting the trends, that weren't given their credit. And now you are seeing a Lil Nas X and a Kim Petras win a Grammy for, being the first trans woman to, win a Grammy for a pop record. So like, I see that to me is a positive shift. I do still think systematically. I mean, you have other power players coming in, you have streaming services who are doing their job to just make money off of artists. But like, let's be honest, some of the rules and the things that are in place are continuing to hold um, people, creatives, people of color especially, back.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's where I'll leave it.
Is there a network of Black artists that particularly hold each other up and get each other through these struggles within the industry?
I mean, if there is. No, I mean, I thought, I don't know. Like, is there like a formal union or a formal network? I don't know.
Or maybe
I,
just a group,
you know,
you
I,
know.
I mean, I think I see what you all would see. So when you see another artist, like, you know, I don't know, just as recently, I don't know, like Nicki Minaj partnering with an Ice Spice, like, and giving her flowers. I mean, that's just like a very recent example because I just watched Princess Diana. But like, yeah, I mean, I see it online, and I do think within the queer community, from what I've seen, there's a lot of like, yo, a win for you is the win for us all. Especially now, like I do definitely see that. Whether or not you're a writer or a musician, like I do see people like really sharing the content and all of that stuff. But I do think there's an opportunity to have a more formal system of like representation. And there are a couple of different networks or pockets, just like Black Lives Matter and all of these things. What I would love to see is a more unified front. And yeah, I think that's where the opportunity is.
Now, I saw that you had worked with Carrie Underwood
Ah,
on Tears
yeah.
of Gold. And so I was thinking, was there a difference at all in the process of working with Carrie Underwood versus working with Black artists? And behind the scenes, what are those differences?
Yeah. And, just to be really clear, I've never met Carrie. I was just blessed enough to write a song that she heard and that she's featured on. So I never went into the studio with her. So she might even know who I am. Or she may. I don't know. I will say, um, I mean, there's no like one way to get a record cut by an artist. And it
Hmm.
doesn't, necessarily matter whether that artist is black or white. It does kind of matter where they are in their lives in terms of what record they want to pick to record. It matters what team is around them. They have a great team that understands their vision, what records they cut. I've been in with artists, like I got to go in with a few and cut vocals, which is a blessing. And I've been in a place where I've never met the artist and just happened to write a record and it got into their team's hands. And I think that, we talk about differences, like that's the ability to reach out directly to camps and not have to go through a label, that's a huge, huge difference. Huge, so huge. So, but yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to that question specifically, but I do know
Well,
it happens all different types of ways.
you kind of have spoken to that question directly because you're giving me a little bit of hope because in my head, or maybe what I've just read or seen, like I'm not in the industry at all, but I have heard about the struggles of Black artists making it to what we would call the mainstream or being able to have opportunities. So with development of technology and just being able to directly connect with fans and whatnot, it seems like some of those barriers are being eliminated, which is beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful too. I see the struggles. I see the systemically effed up stuff that goes on behind the scenes that, I've been in sessions with people who are blatantly racist and have had to, have had to deal with it. Um, and I like to think that now we're in an environment where we have more language around microaggressions and what's good and what's not good. I think things now are less tolerated, misogyny, racism. I like to think that. So I do. I feel there are positive shifts and still a lot to go because it's like we can talk about it on this ground level, but until the stuff changes at the top, then it's like, you know, so.
Yeah.
As I was trying to prepare a little bit more, just like thinking about the history of Black music, sometimes our minds maybe go back to being on like a plantation, for example, during the enslavement period, right? And different messages were conveyed. For either its feelings or maybe something was happening, that kind of thing. And it goes back, thousands and thousands of years in terms of having that sort of musical communication. But in the more recent century, I guess, I was reading about the Harlem Renaissance, and in this period, there were a lot of African Americans who were moving from the South to northern cities and looking for these sort of creative opportunities and a way to make money. So whether they were photographers or writers, artists and musicians. And then I remember like a month ago in change, Bobby Caldwell passed away. And as that kind of overtook the interwebs for a bit, because he was like marketed as a Black man in a sense, because nobody knew. And for those that aren't familiar, he sung the record, What You Won't Do for Love. And he's marketed as a Black man in a sense because it's the sound, it's the way that he comes across. And then on like the album itself, it wasn't a color basing thing. It was like having the hat and being like, to the side and more of a sort of shadowish figure instead of like who he actually is, right? And so, Cameron, to your point of how Black artists have really like paved the way and us being the culture, but then it gets like remarketed to something else or by someone else, and that sort of cultural appropriation it's also evident, at least for us, when we really look at what's happening or really, see what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I was curious to see, like, what is your take on that at this point? Is it like, what, we are for sure like in a much better place, or do you still feel like there's a lot of that cultural appropriation happening?
That's a big question.
Yeah, it is a big question.
Of course there is. Like,
Yeah.
of course there is, and I don't think that the culture is being stolen from Black people. I think it's been being taken and like framed. If you're Asian, if you're Latino, it's like it's rampant across all entertainment. And there's this difference between respecting. It's like when I forget which Kardashian it was, wore like cornrows or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. I don't remember
It's
which one
like,
either, but one of them wore it. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens every week.
yeah, I forget. I mean, probably all of them. And that's not to say I don't know the Kardashians. They could be amazing. We could be friends in the future. I don't know. But
You're like,
you
for the
know,
record.
there's this yeah, I guess I say that to say that, like, yes, there of course is cultural appropriation, and there are powers behind the scenes that um see that the youth, the kids, don't necessarily care and want the content. And so we'll continue to buy into it, to sign artists and not do due diligence. And what you'll see, as a very specific example, is that within the TikTok world, which is an incredible platform for music discovery, let's just call it what it is. But you'll see a lot of artists who have followings, who end up getting signed and don't have any media training, any vocal training, any stage training, maybe even any cultural training, whether they be black or non-black, and they get exposed really quickly. They go into these sessions with someone like me or someone else, and they create what they create, but then they never have the popularity or the success they had on TikTok because they aren't prepared. And I think part of that is that you can culturally appropriate, but eventually it all comes out in the wash. Whether you're down for the culture, whether you really are supporting people of color, black people, whatever, or not. Eventually it all comes. That's my kind of takeaway is that eventually we'll see who you are. So yeah, culture appropriation exists everywhere, and it sucks, but eventually you'll be exposed.
Jonathan had mentioned this earlier as we had started our conversation about the If I Was White song in the music video. And I remember seeing something that you had posted about maybe some backlash that you had gotten from it. Pardon?
If you go on the YouTube video in the comments, that's all you need to see. Like I don't pay attention to me anymore, and I thought it was just really enlightening how racist people can be. But yeah, not to interrupt you.
No, but yeah, I mean that's exactly it, right? A lot of that purpose of Now We Know is being able to talk more about how we're still having those experiences and trying to learn more and get more historical context surrounding these sorts of things. And the people who are going to have a problem or say it doesn't exist or whatever, they don't get it and they're like not going to get it. And I can imagine that must have been possibly some sort of like challenge for you in your career. But if not that, like what do you feel has been maybe the biggest challenge that you've come across?
I mean, I want to take a moment to just acknowledge too, because when I put that song out, I just came from, within 2020 when we were all inside and the George Floyd murder happened. I was feeling emotional, and it's just, it's really sad because literally, 2 days ago with Ralph Yarrow, that young
He's 12,
kid
yeah.
I mean,
in my state, it's terrible.
is that where are you from, Missouri?
I'm in St. Louis, yeah, so about 3 hours away.
It's one thing to like talk about it and make the art about it, but then like, it's hard for me to listen to that song, honestly, sometimes. It's a lot. But to know that like literally when I close the laptop and I think about that, like it's literally still happening. And it has still been happening. And it's been happening for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Like, so I think, I just want to take the moment to say like, whoa, what a time we're in.
Yeah.
And I think to answer your question, Donna, yeah, I think one of the toughest things for me is realizing that like there's so many gems I could drop. But as an artist, like you really have to believe in yourself more than anything. You have to have a strong sense of self or the willingness to invest in yourself to make mistakes. And, for a long time, I was just out here really trying to understand who I am, what my voice is capable of. And I think the hardest thing has been even in these moments of doubts where I haven't had, like, sometimes the system that I truly um, have wanted or that could really see me, knowing that eventually people would listen. Like some days it's really hard. Like some days it's really hard to believe in yourself. Um, and that's really tough, I think, because my career, I am the product. Like I am the thing that's being sold in a sense, like obviously. Like I know it's not just that, but so any no, any turning away, could to a less self-realized person make them feel not worthy. And to an extent, it has affected me, but I've worked really hard at who I am. And I mean, that isn't is the result of the work, like, so that's been really tough.
Mm.
I think too, like, just to say it plainly, the music industry is, I believe, the most difficult industry to be a part of as a creative because of, financially, revenue wise, profit wise, like I think the most important thing on earth is music, our ability to make sound music, make things people feel art. I think it's just, imagine a world, a day, an hour, a second without music.
Mhm.
And yet it's so commoditized now. It's so commoditized now. People don't understand the value that we bring. And because of that commodity, it's now the value, the ability to make a living at it, even if you're super talented, it's even harder. And so that's the kind of like other end of the story. Yeah, you have more access to technology to make songs and put them out on Spotify. The other thing is that now you have 90,000 tracks a day being uploaded to Spotify. And, you know, it's challenging. You have to be in it for the long term. And now it's even longer because there's so much noise.
Mhm.
So much noise.
Just the other day, there was this radio show that I listened to. Evidently, someone has figured out how to make AI make a track.
Oh yes, I was
Did you see
looking at
that?
yes.
And it's like,
Bro, yeah.
yeah.
Changing the industry. The industry is literally changing day by day. Because 3 days ago, that track that you're referencing, this Drake track, with The Weeknd, written by this AI or written by someone who used AI software, that was garnering hundreds of thousands of streams on streaming networks, like on Spotify. And literally a day or two he was forced to take it down. And it's just like things are changing so quickly. It's fascinating, scary, and exciting at the same time. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Shit, like we might not even have podcasts. Like who knows? You could just have.
Don't say that. Jonathan, you're like, whatever, it's fine.
Well, no,
Don't.
I'm like, whatever, because I do embrace the development of technology. I always go back to the concept of when cameras came in, painters were like, hold up, what do you mean? But now we need the pictures because they tell 1,000 words. So there is opportunity. Like a hammer can be a tool to destroy or build. I think there's opportunity within the industry for AI to be a positive force.
Yeah, I agree. And I think at the end of the day, like authenticity will always win. Like you can't replicate that with AI. Like that's literally the non, it's the opposite.
Yeah. Even that one like stand-up special that they had Tom Brady do or something like in his voice, and it was like so painfully monotone and not even like monotone and you like, have a punchline because you have dry humor. It just was monotone and not any, and like it was awful. But yeah, it's Yeah, don't let AI take over the human. The things that make us beautiful as people is having like the nuance of personality or delivery or the tone of voice, and all of that makes us human. And what really sets us apart and makes us love each other so much more, really kind of resonate with each other.
Absolutely. And also to that point, Cameron, one of your songs really, really hit home for me and like really touched me. It was Comfortable, which is such a specific experience, but also I feel like there's so many people with that experience that need to hear that. And so through your storytelling and as you continue to work on new projects, what are some of the stories that you're hoping to bring to the public or at least release from yourself?
It's a great question, Jonathan. I mean, I write from like just experience. So like, it's basically what I'm going through now. Like, relationships, the next chapter, what does healing look like? Like I've stepped into a bit of a new what I would say, like just a phase in my life where I'm investing in healing so much that I teach yoga. And like I'm curious to know what does that intersection of healing with yoga and becoming present to or mindful to the present moment look like musically. I don't know.
Mm.
Like that exists. I've seen it, but what does music look like for me that can help you be more present? Like feel okay, to look someone in the eye and say how you truly feel. Like that's what I'm interested in. Like I'm really truly interested in that. Um, yeah,
I'm excited to hear it.
me
I'm
too.
really excited to hear it.
Like,
I think there's some. I will be reaching out to Donna for the previews. And I think also part of that connection that AI cannot replicate is where we connect in our own intersections, being Black, being queer, you know what I mean? Generational connections, experiences that are shared. There's a documentary that's coming out soon. I want to say it's even this weekend at the time of recording, and it's about Little Richard. And Little Richard being a huge queer Black presence in the music industry, changing the sound of music altogether. I see that and I see how he has obviously inspired people like Prince and Michael Jackson and pretty much anyone who steps foot on stage. I just wanted to ask, are there any influences or any inspirations that have come before that have inspired you to operate the way that you do in the music industry?
yeah, I mean, I would be here a long time. If I went through the list, it would be exhaustive. But I will say that, I mean, one of the persons that I think I've told a lot of people this, but one of my favorite movies growing up was Sister Act 2, which you'll probably find for a lot of vocalists my age, it's just like it was so impactful for us. Seeing Rita, played by Lauryn Hill, which is where I'm getting to, you know, want to sing and then feeling like she had everything against her. But eventually she found her voice, right? So like that movie in and of itself was so impactful for me, who was afraid to sing because of whatever growing up. And then when she came out as an artist, like Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is, it's iconic. Like,
Yeah.
be alive during the time that came out. Like, can you imagine? Like, it was so iconic,
Man.
But I also, I mentioned this before. My family was really big in just the music that they played. I absorbed a lot of, like the greats, the Stevie Wonders, Donny Hathaway, Aretha, Eric Clapton. Just I just really listened to everything because I was the youngest, and it was just always playing. And then when I played saxophone, it's such a melodic instrument. Like it really kind of yeah, just like extended my musical vocabulary. So like I have musical influences in jazz. Like I listened to a lot of Charlie Parker growing up. When I played piano, I listened to a lot of romantic classical, so Rachmaninoff, and I loved Gershwin. Um, and just growing up in the '90s, like R&B was just king. So like there's just, you know, I kind of like feel like I'm a student of just observing, listening, watching. And people are like, oh, I don't like metal or I don't like rock or I don't like this and that. I'm like, I can find one song in any genre, in any mode, any period that I'm sure would speak to you because like it's all music at the end of the day. Or speak to me, I should say. So like I am influenced by it all.
That's beautiful. That is very much so. The I guess similarly, just kind of growing up, not together. Again, he's a little bit older than I am, but we did listen to everything like all the time, and that's
I
I don't
had
know.
a Spice Girls era, y'all.
Yeah.
Look, I'm in my Spice Girls era. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, that definitely is like has been instrumental for me as well. And yeah, I'm so glad to like get to hear you talk more about it because I don't think that we've ever had like this in depth of a conversation of like what your musical journey has been. And I did want to just ask one more question. I know you got to get going here shortly, but what would you say is the maybe greatest sense of accomplishment for you in your musical career?
You know, I don't know if I have a greatest. I have things I'm really, really proud of. Um, and it might not even be like what most people would be proud of. So like after writing that record, or co-writing it, um, at the time it came out, like I was able to finally just have like some financial stability in a way I've never had before. And I was at a place in my life where I was kind of losing steam, losing reason for being out here in LA. Like, I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive because I had this big record, but I had been in LA for 7 years. And I took the time away from the industry, which most people probably would have thought was crazy. But like, I knew for me, I needed to step away. And I took a trip to South America and which influenced my project. And had I not done that and listened to my inner voice, where a lot of people were like, you should stay, do more sessions, you got a hot record out right now. But like I listened to myself, my intuition, and that trip changed me so fundamentally, profoundly. It changed my music, it changed my belief in myself was more clear, like helped me just come to grips with things that were going on in my life. And had I not done that, I don't think you definitely wouldn't have White Shoes, which is the song that's on the project. You probably wouldn't have Comfortable. You might not have If I Was White. So like, I think that's one of my proudest moments was booking that flight. Because we were at Thanksgiving, like right before we were at the memorial for our grandmother that passed. And I remember I was telling my mom I'm going to South America. She was like, what? She was like, I never heard of this. I was like, I'm booking this. And people didn't think I was serious. But I think that next week I was like, I'm gone. Like, this is it. I need to do this. And I'm so glad I did. So if you ever need to take that trip, you need a respite, you need a break, you need some you time, I am the biggest advocate. Because
And this is your sign to do it.
Yeah, you really can't show up for others and create unless your own cup is full.
That's beautiful. Well, let us know how everyone can find you on social media, and then let us know the name of the album too, or the EP.
Yeah. So you can find me at Cameron Forbes on Instagram. CameronForbes.com has literally everything, all the music. I've spent a lot of time on that website, so go check it out. DIY here. The album is called, the EP, I should say, is called Back to Me. It has 7 songs. I think it's a really great 25-minute listen. And I'm working on some things and hope to have, some things out maybe sometime this year. But I also trust the process and don't rush it. But it'll be meaningful when it comes out.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's all, folks.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. It really means a lot. Like I feel very happy to have gotten to get some more insight from you and kind of pick your brain a bit.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to talk with you both. And I love what you're doing. Congratulations on the podcast.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, thank you, Cameron. And thank you for Back to Me. Everybody go stream comfortable.
Yes, I really love
Stream them all.
Yes.
Right.
Videos. There are like, 5 videos that are out.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh, the Send Nudes video. Okay,
Mm.
I'll go on forever. But it's a really good project. I mean, you're a
Yeah.
wonderful storyteller. So thank you for the work, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to y'all another time.
All right.
All
see
right.
ya.
Have a great one.
Love y'all.
Love you too.
Bye.
Oh,
That was fun.
yeah. That was fun.
My side of the computer is so chaotic today.
What?
I'm so sorry. I'm getting FaceTimes.
Oh,
What is happening?
You're like, guys, I'm busy. That's funny.
Oh gosh. But I really do love that we got a chance to talk to Cameron, and I am really happy to hear that the situation within the music industry is a little bit better than what I had assumed it was. Especially since I think from an outsider looking in, I'm zeroing in on how different my ability to access different types of music feels, like there's like sections, and if I'm typing in R&B, oftentimes I'll see a white face because of an algorithm, a system that will keep artists like Cameron out and push other unnamed artists up. So I'm happy to hear that there are still people that are able to succeed, create their art, share their art, have their fan base, etc. I think that that interview was great. It kind of changed the way I wanted to approach things, because my original thought was talking about the struggles of a Black artist, when really it seems like it's the struggle of an artist, period.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like crossing over, it's a lot of interpersonal things that are creating divides, not so much not as heavily systemic as it once was, like where we had race records versus mainstream records. So I'm happy to hear about these developments. All right, Donna, it's time for Now You Know.
June is African American Music Appreciation Month, created by President Jimmy Carter in 1979. This month celebrates the African American musical influences that comprise an essential part of our nation's treasured cultural heritage. Formerly called National Black Music Month, this celebration of African American musical contributions is reestablished annually by presidential proclamation. Though by no means exhaustive, here is a list of a primer that will kind of guide you through some of the different genres that African Americans have created, inspired, and fostered. Sacred music, folk music, the blues, military music, jazz, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, hip hop and rap, and the list goes on. It doesn't go on. And hip hop and rap. Sorry. Sorry. There's this really cool article from the Smithsonian that details more about those specific genres that I'll post into the show notes. But I mean, really, where there is Blackness and culture and something that resonates with your soul, it is going to be really influential, whether you know it or not, in your daily life, musically, culturally, just across the board.
I just wanted to share a little bit of history here for my Now You Know. I want you all to know about Black Swan Records, which was the first Black-owned and operated record label. And it was made so that Black voices could be heard, and eventually did get sold to Paramount. But I will say it offered a space for Black artists that otherwise would have never stepped foot into a recording studio to be able to share their voices. And from that, we heard some of the first variations of Black music. some of the earliest best-selling records for Black people, for Black music, was actually sermons. And so it was interesting to have Black Swan Records that was solely about making jazz and blues and rock and all these different genres that Black people had already been performing live, but now we got it on record. So check out recordings from Black Swan Records if you're into that old-timey stuff, but also know that Black Swan Records is what created things like Motown and Checker Records and all these other things that created artists like Little Richard. And I mean, also there's a documentary about Little Richard, which I mentioned, but there's so much Black history in the music industry that I think people forget. And it all started way, way back in 1921 because we had no other option. So hearing these storytellers was no accident. It was fought for hard. So because of Black Swan Records, we have Cameron Forbes, and I'm really excited to have Black Music Month so we can celebrate those things. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And now you know.
Of course, you guys, we will drop all of the links to the sources and resources that we have used for the production of this episode in the show notes. So be sure to check that out for the content of the episode, but also for our Now You Know segment. We appreciate y'all for joining us each and every month. If you think that more people can benefit from this conversation, please be sure to share the podcast with a friend or family member. Also, don't forget to leave a review and subscribe to Now We Know wherever you listen. You can find me on Instagram at Donna Janine, or if you want to drop us a note, any feedback or maybe suggestions on people that you'd like us to cover, send us an email at realrelatablepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening.